do in the first 5 minutes, and then there is plenty room for some more surprises. So Verbmobil, it was in the year 1993 when Professor Walster gave me a call and asked me to have lunch together with him, and then he said, would you like to be the project manager of Verbmobil? And I said, that sounds brilliant. It was the world's largest project in language technology that there ever was, and I said that is absolutely the right scope. Everybody said this has to be a failure, including Martin K. Maybe he was a bit skeptical about it, and I said to myself, that cannot be the case. We have 200 scientists, we have hundreds of students, we have all the money that you can imagine, and we have a very specific problem doing appointment scheduling. So therefore we did this, and the first lesson that Verbmobil learned from Eurocha was make the problem small, and in case you have a small problem, there is the chance that in the end we will have a system that will deal with this problem in some timely fashion and with some excellency. And then it was about appointment scheduling. So what is appointment scheduling? So why do you need a system, a machine translation, a machine interpreter for appointment scheduling? That is a question nobody really could answer. The answer was, we need appointment scheduling because everybody understands what that is, and to do appointment scheduling we have to talk about places, about times, about dates, and have a little dialogue. It is obviously something with a dialogue, and so it seemed that this we can handle. The linguists thought we can handle this problem. And then there came these people, they say, yeah, come on. It is just about these dates. And I do this very, very professional syntax and semantics. This is much too trivial. And then they started to work. For 3 or 4 months, they were very, very quiet, because the first time ever they understood that these dates and these appointments from the linguistic point of view are a little bit more complex than they thought in the beginning. And we had the first system after a while, but since we had the first Verbmobil system, the project was just something that costs an enormous amount of money. There was no project. There was just a name, Verbmobil. And people were traveling, workshops. Deutsche Bahn was happy, everybody was happy, traveling. But there was no project, there was no team. We had a team in Verbmobil since we first presented the first prototype. And since then, the system emerged to something that got more and more interesting. And in the end, we had a system that I personally sold to German kids, to the German president, and to the others too, on fairs in all over Europe. And we traveled with the system, and we showed it everywhere. And it was a success. I honestly believe it was a success, because many things happened. We collected data that never were collected before. The speech recognition was really much better after Verbmobil than it was before. And why all this happened was we had one system engineering group. We had a Systemgruppe. So we had one place where all the modules came together, and these people had the task to integrate it into one system, and then they said, oh, so how can we do this? We have the Lisp people, we have the Prolog people, we have the etc. people, and then they said, so the thinking was interesting. The thinking was, we have all these academics, we have all these industrial partners, we have no way whatsoever to tell these people what programming language to use. We don't have the tools to tell them. And And we shouldn't, because they have experience for 10 years, for 20 years. And they have their experience with their modules. So we have a system, we need a system with Lisp and Prolog and everything talking to each other. And that is, this inter-process communication tools that we first used came from Hamburg. And that were very important to make all these modules into one system. And it was a microphone, and it was speech recognition, and it was syntax and semantics and pragmatics and dialogue context and synthesis. Okay, and this group really was sort of they were in the driver's seat, and they had to integrate the system. And that was a very important part of it. When in that very moment, they were finished, that was the moment when I spent nights, ask my wife, nights with this system to make a presentation that was good enough for Martin to be amused, maybe more from the show point. Maybe he wasn't always amused with things that Verbmobil couldn't do or should do better, but that was the job, to get the system, to get the project, to keep it running, and to get the point on stage and present the system. And I can tell you many things about technology presentation. That is not the point of today's meeting, but that was nights. And these computers, 10 years ago, they were much slower, and when the system died, it used 20 minutes to come up again. Okay, so now let's try this. Okay, go smoking. That is, so I'm a smoker, that's not too bad for me, but sometimes it was a bit frustrating, and I had one meeting without Martin and without all the evaluators. That was the meeting of the module coordinators, and there were all like 50 in a room, and I told them that I think what they do is not acceptable. Because sometimes in a big project you have some frictions between the groups, and you have all these big schools and all these discussions between symbolic and statistic, and my approach is better than yours, and we should do this and we should do this. And but Martin wasn't there, because that was more the private meeting. Okay, so but that is Verbmobil, and we can talk about it in full length, and I still can give you a demo of the system. We used it 3 or 4 months ago, a 10-year-old system, and we used it and we made a presentation, and it was pure fun, because it still looks like in the year 2000. No gray hairs, still the same system. It's very nice. And then in November, Stefan Euler, he was one of the evaluators of Verbmobil. He called me and he said, Herr Karger, but I thought that next year, it is 10 years that Verbmobil is over. And I said, Herr Euler, I know what you want to say. It's a good point. All right, so then we thought, and now we do it, we will have a conference, and the ones of you that are on Facebook may know that. We will have a conference, 10 years Verbmobil, and it will be in Saarbrücken, and it will be the 15th and 16th of November. So anybody that worked for Verbmobil is very much invited. Anybody that has a heart for a very nice machine translation or a very nice machine interpretation system is very much invited. So hopefully we meet tomorrow morning and tomorrow night, but hopefully we meet 15th and 16th November 2010 in Saarbrücken. Maybe we have a list, and then I can send a reminder, or you start your Facebook account, as Martin Kay promised to do lately, 2 days ago, and this will be sort of my next topic. Because we heard some things about the big projects and the monastery, and that is very nice. And always I hear the physics people, and they do things for billions of euros, very, very expensive. And that is a sort of nice, because they have so much money and they get so much money, and why shouldn't we do sort of the same thing? And but there are some bad news. There is no money. I mean, really, I mean, no joke, there is no money. We have the problem is much larger, and we shouldn't talk about that now, but there is no money. Now, there is maybe one side to it. The second one is, we don't need it. Because these poor physics people, they do their experiments and they do gigantic machines in the grounds, very deep, so that they can study things that we don't need. We don't need big machines in the ground. That's not the point. We have all what we need in our head, and we have all what we need in the dialogues of the people. And we have all this language around. And the people use it. I mean, all these little parts, they are there, but you cannot see them. You cannot detect them. You even don't know if they're there. And then, therefore, they make a big, big theory, and then do a big, big machine to prove the big, big theory. Maybe it's right, but it costs billions of euros. Billions of euros we do not need. Now that is so. There is no money, and we don't need money. But that's that is seems to be good. Seems to be good. Seems to be good. Good message. So what should we do? Because Martin is right. Some things failed more than others. I know very nice projects that were very successful in the 90s. So what should we do? We should concentrate not on money. We should concentrate on good ideas. Now, what is always the problem? There are words, there are sentences, very nice, and the machine has no access to the world. That may be true. It is true. But if we look right now where we have all this language, it is in newspapers and in books and in all these very serious people thing and stuff, and it's always sort of old. It is not in this minute. It's not in this moment. And to me, it seems that a lot of linguists and a lot of language technology people, they do not want to understand that we have, since 5 years, we have the largest knowledge source we ever had before. And of course, it's something like Facebook. We never had something like that before. People talk to each other. People exchange messages, and they do it in real time about real-time events. And now they to make their view of the world more understandable, they put hashtags. So they tag what they write. They update photos, and now we see more and more geolocation information on Facebook and Twitter, and we never had that before. And I'm not sure, maybe I didn't understand it, but it seems to me that nobody's really thinking about what can this usage of language, how can this knowledge source be an inspiration for better language technology? When the people speak so much about so many topics in so many languages, why don't we start use this wealth, this richness of information to teach machines? I don't know. I don't know how we can do this, but I see that there is tons of information. But of course, you don't see it. because you don't take it serious. Because you say, not everybody of course, but some may say, well, that stupid stuff, I don't have the time. That's not mine. I don't care about it. I'm so old. That's something for the young people. That is this. I happen to have these dialogues quite frequently, and I guess they are a danger because language technology with this attitude is going to miss the biggest opportunity that there ever was, and it's free. And we could do some things with it if we want to, and I guess we should speculate about ways ways to understand how we can use this information. Because anyway, the meaning changes every day, and over days, over weeks, over years, and everybody now understands that's in German. Everybody now understands a sentence like Köhler macht den Lafontaine. Everybody understands perfectly what that is. And this den Lafontaine machen was sort of new and only understandable if you read newspapers. But den Lafontaine machen was nothing that anybody would have understood in the year 1997. 1998, it was March of 99 when he just said, piss off, I'm off, I go. And now so it is changing, and if we find a way to understand, to use social networks and social media as a knowledge source, that would be, I guess that could be very interesting and very inspiring. Just a last point coming back to the robots. That is interesting, using robots, but it will be a very, very special experiment that will be very expensive, and I'm not sure that we have the money, and it is not mainstream of what is happening in robotics. The robotics people understand that they have no chance to use a camera and vision and understand the world. What they say is, oh, that is very nice, we have this Internet of Things. Oh, that is good. So every chair says, I'm a chair, and I stand in your way, and this is the old Wasserwerk, and if you want to go to the cafeteria, just follow these signs that nobody sees, but they're electronically there. So what we do is a little bit more what Hans said. We are going to put RFID and we put material everywhere. We have the architectural CAD models that the robots will know. Robots will probably be as intelligent as they are now. It's just that all the environment is going to be much more filled up with information that allows them to perform their tasks. Now, the last thing I would like to say is Lieutenant Dan's idea, this monastery, the conference. And I guess that would be something that could be extremely valuable. It is not all about social media. It is about that people should be together more closely, more intense, with a clear goal, and therefore we should know what we really want language technology to be, and we should really know what language technology, which problems language technology should solve. And that is something that there is not, there are some opinions, but I guess there is no vision. And I guess we should aim really to find a vision for language technology, and this place and these 2 days could be a step towards finding a vision for language technologies. And that is, thank you very much. That is what I had to say today.
A comment and a question. We don't use, at least in NTT, we didn't use data from social media because it's illegal. We really wanted to use it, but we don't own the copyright on tweets, on people's Facebook pages, on blogs. Anything we wanted to download and process, we just couldn't. So there's lots of information out there, but we're not allowed to use it. Do you have any, is it different in Europe? I don't.
I'm a linguist. I have no idea of the law. So I don't know. It seems not to be illegal to read what is written on Twitter.
Yeah, you can read it.
Yes.
You can't take a copy and store it and learn stuff from it.
Yeah, but I guess if there is a vision, if there is a plan, I guess there is a way to talk to Twitter or talk to Facebook. And the dream would be that they understand the point, and there is no money lost or gained or. Okay, if we would like to follow this path, then of course it would be important to talk to the companies that provide, or we do our own social network, the European network, and that could be another way, but I guess it's not a very clever way because people always go to the people. Don't ask the people to come to you. So we could continue.
One more question maybe. If you draw now the conclusion from Verbmobil to future projects, then it sounds when you look at MetaNet, at what other people were proposing, that also what Nicoletta Calzolari was proposing, that the idea is more and more having lots of groups who work in an evolutionary way on improving something, each contributing a little bit. Yeah, there is this scheme now that is very successful in many areas. For instance, in biology, genomics. Then there are some areas that you also mentioned, like in physics, that cannot work this way because they need huge super colliders, and people have to book precious minutes and days working with this expensive machinery, and they come from all over the world, and work there. Now, when you stress the importance of the systems group, of the systems building in language technology, it seems that you were indicating that language technology should be more of the centralized type of method. Although right now most of the proposals speak more for federated, distributed, large collective efforts of many distributed smaller groups working together. So what do you think? Do you think the next step could be done without the Systemgruppe, without the systems group, or do we still need it?
Honestly, I truly believe distributed projects that should, where in the end there should be one system, they will fail. They will fail. No chance for any success. You need a group. There should be real software engineers. There should be authorities in their field. There's somebody should behind them that is really that has a sword in his hand. Deliver now. It is that in the end, the people want to see the one result, because in this result, anyhow you think about it, you will not see the little parsing algorithm here and the little something over there. But we want to be part of something that is sort of more interesting, that is larger, and therefore there has to be something that is larger. We can distribute everything, and in the end, we will have many people that learned many things, but we don't have, there will be no breakthrough. Full stop.
Yeah, maybe there's a middle path between the two. But you define clear interfaces when there should be a distributed system. Interfaces which may be information lossy, so you may not be able to get all information which you get in the central slide system, but which still allow to make use of distributed language resources. I mean, these well-defined interfaces are, independent of the topic today, one of the basics of the web itself, where you have a loose coupling of information systems.
Okay, interesting. So you have, I guess, you have the 5 boroughs of New York. Why don't you split them up over the United States? I mean, it would still be New York, just distributed. I guess it, and you can have highways and trains that go back and forth. But I guess it is wrong. It will fail. It is a complex problem. We need a group that takes the stone and delivers the diamond, and they have to. It is like Dan said. We need the monastery. Maybe he wants the grammar monastery, and I would like the system group monastery. But we need the people together. It is. We do not need. We can still lose more time, and that is not that we can always lose more time. But if we want a breakthrough, there is no middle something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Of course, we have to acknowledge that the way we are sharing things nowadays has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Yeah? I mean, the way that systems are being distributed and the way that systems and platforms and resources are being shared among various places, this has also changed, especially in the last 5 years, dramatically. So I would tend not to horribly disagree with you. I'm very careful in the choice of the words, but maybe you would have liked to consider how nowadays we are having distribution of systems and how we are sharing information. Because it's much faster, it's much easier, and it's much more compatible among all of the places where things have to be distributed. So maybe you want to relax a bit your notion of the big eye, big brother on how you want to have control over things.
Okay, now it is. If I have to, I sell the distribution stuff to everybody, and I will find good arguments why this is so very interesting. But if you want to know what I think, there is the parts, and there is the sum of the parts, and there is the whole. And we will not get something impressive if we continue the distribution of this stuff. And as long as we believe that we only need interfaces and some nice wires and the people and video conferences, it will not. We talk about language. It's not programming language. It's human language. Really, I strongly believe, and maybe you don't want to hear it, but I strongly believe we need these people to sweat together, and that is not something that you do via video conference. And then you see, they see that some things were very nicely thought, but they just don't come together. And those are the ones that give the hint. Do it some other way. This will never function, and this will. We can make success. Okay, but it will never be the system that we really had as our vision.
You suggested that the way to gather these linguistic resources, high-quality linguistic resources, is to centralize and to have experts manage this. A lot of the knowledge creation that's happening on the web today is exactly the opposite.
I'm sorry, that was too many. I know, it's my fault. Too many points in too short of a time. the knowledge is completely distributed everywhere, and everybody is participating, and it is very collaborative, and that is the social that is social networks, and there we find everything about. No, we find some things about language, but making a system that really performs the magic, that really has the touch to be more than just another something that is not that interesting. To make this system working, there I strongly believe we need the people in some place. I mean, in Saarbrücken, of course. In some place. That I have to say. Anyway, in some place. Why don't you go to the heart of Europe? So in some place, a group that is really dedicated and to bring the modules together and to make so the modules are somewhere else, but they take them together and make one system. Of course, in Saarbrücken or Kaiserslautern. So sorry, it was really, you need a lot of, you need all these people that think and write and work on their topics. That is, but just this integration part.
You know, some of the people that are talking about the semantic web and having data that's intelligent and data that can talk to each other without human intervention. You know, and if you create data structures that are simple, but that can somehow collaborate, then you can create, you know, without having some big expert taxonomy or ontology over it. You know, you could just have small, simple things, you know, just nouns and verbs talking to each other. And high school children and everybody contributing to the creation of massive amounts of data that are automatically tagged, that are identified, and that can come together, you know, using robots or using intelligent processes. I mean, that's another approach to creating a really massive linguistic resource.
I never saw in my life two nouns. They had a very nice dialogue, but it is very. I guess you have a very good point, but it is another point, and we should talk about this. But it is really. You know, once when you spend nights and nights with a system that you have to sell to the politicians and to the you really find your way. How on earth can this be done? And then it crashes, and then it doesn't crash, and you do it together with the software engineers that have the knowledge about the integration, not about the modules themselves, because they can be developed anywhere, but to have this focus point, and that is very physical and very concrete, and not about data structures, but about people that are brilliant, that work in a very intense way, and sort of that is sort of the monastery thing of Dan, not about grammar, but about system engineering. And I strongly would propose that this is a good idea.
Let me just give you one example of why there is another way. You know, Microsoft spent tens of millions of dollars building spelling checkers. Google created this very naturally just from seeing the misspellings that people put in, and when they send you back, is this what you meant? And
but that is the use of social networks. That is you look at the people and look what they do and have an ear for what they do, and then you get better results. But who is working on this algorithm that you use to analyze what all these faults may mean? And that is so. It is a different. Really, it's a different point.
I think there's sort of like lots of things that we've been mixing this afternoon. And two of these things are infrastructure and resources and ideas. It's actually three things. And maybe we should sort of like make a distinction as far as infrastructure is concerned, as far as resources is concerned. I think it makes sense to line things up and to have collaborative efforts that are organized somewhere. But as far as ideas are concerned, if you want to have really, really good ideas, and we don't have the really good ideas yet how to solve these problems, then I think what we need is a strong element of competition. And it's not always clear that, you know, if you try to organize the space of ideas in some sort of like central way, that you get the best results. And therefore, I think one of the difficult things is to find a good balance between the infrastructure, the resources on the one hand, and sort of like having an environment where good ideas can flourish through competition, and maybe even through competitions. Like in some areas, you have competitions, you have data, and then you work out who's best, and you move on.
Yeah, but you know the competition stuff? Have you been to a workshop with speech recognizing, with the speech people? They use, when they have a workshop, 2 days, they use 1.5 of these days to fully understand the rules of the competition. They don't talk about what they do. They don't talk about their research. They say they have very, very detailed rules who gets the data when from whom and has to deliver it in what second to somebody else, and that is what I saw about competition. Okay, it's right. We need competition. It's well understood. It's perfect. But primarily, we need the vision, and I guess we should again work on a vision. And so, therefore, Verbmobil had this vision to implement a machine interpreter for German and English in the beginning, and Japanese, a machine interpreter, and with a very, very small domain of appointment scheduling. And that was a vision to have, and many topics in this. But I was multilingual processing of spontaneous speech. Multilingual processing of spontaneous speech is something that many people can understand, but not everybody. So when I did the presentations, I said it's the machine interpreter, der maschinelle Dolmetscher, and that everybody understood in the very moment. This is what you want. Yeah, this is what we're aiming at, and we start with this appointment scheduling, and it will be something. And we don't have this vision right now, or I don't. Maybe it's there, but I didn't see it. And I guess we need we need a vision that we can put in 5 words that everybody understands, and then we can talk about how we get the resources and the infrastructure and what's the best way. But if there is a vision and if there should be a system, then we should do it in a central, in one location. The integration in one location. Development of these modules in all over the world, but just the integration in one location. And then we will get something extremely interesting, because I strongly believe many things happened since 1993, many things happened since the year 2000, and many things really happened in the last 5 years when everybody was so happy with statistics stuff.
I just want to add a small comment. Verbmobil was actually the example where both ideas, the centralized integration and the competition, were brought together in one and the same project. So in the end, both in the project and in the system, we had parallel strands of development. And we had the idea of competition, for instance, between symbolic and statistical approaches. And we had a selection component which has tried to find the best contribution to the translation from the different channels which were locked on in parallel. So, in a sense, bringing these ideas together, that should be the best way to do.
There was data collection was distributed, module development was distributed. Just the integration was centralized, and again very successful centralized. But it is the five. What are the 5 words? What is the vision? What is the goal? What do we really want? And in 5 words, and everybody can understand what it should be. And that probably we know this better tomorrow. That seems to be the perfect time to continue. And as I understood, Ann Kopstek, now the stage is yours. The water is mine.